Hello.
Hello.
Um, yeah, we were just streaming over at your place today, and um,
Why are you sad?
well, because I'm worried because my discussion with Narish has really been opening my mind to a lot of things, and I know we already talked about this today. In the description box, there's an article that I just wrote. Um, So basically, my premise is that white polytheism before Christianity believed that God could become material, right? And that,
And that is idolatry.
yes, and that is idolatry. And we talked about how Mormonism was a white religion and seemed to be atavistic and bringing back old white religion, in that God in Mormonism is physical and limited and spatiotemporal, and has a physical body, and is subject to the laws of the universe. um, and the thing is that that's just a more scientific type of theism. It's less it's less magical. It's less magical than saying God exists outside of space and time. And I think that the white race became the race of science because of our idolatry. And
I don't think so. Okay, I think that the white race became scientifically advanced because they were always fighting wars with each other. And every time you fight a war, there is some kind of scientific advancement. That is, I guess, the silver lining of war, scientific advancement.
well, all cultures had wars all the time, and I think that we were saying that it seems like the Judeo-Asian thing is to say God is a mystery and is not in the physical reality, and it's a European thing to say that God is not a mystery and is in physical reality and can be perceived, and you can actually become God in your physical body, or actually you are God in your physical body, but you can increase your God consciousness, um, because God is material. Um, Now, I didn't know that this was kind of like not what Hinduism taught at all. And, my fear is, and we've already discussed this today, and that is that, so because God is one and does not take material shape in Hinduism, at least at that aspect, Hinduism is Noahide compliant. And when you think about it, Hinduism is no less Noahide compliant than Islam. And actually, it's more Noahide compliant because the only problem Hinduism has is holidays and things like astrology, but they've never added or subtracted from scripture, whereas Muslims have added to scripture. And so they're more idolatrous than Hindus are. And
People won't agree. Just to interject there, but carry on. I mean,
well, I
obviously,
don't know that people will not agree, and I don't
okay.
necessarily.
I disagree because it's like, okay, you assuming that Hinduism is no hide, it is still inferior to Islam because it hasn't got scripture from God.
Yes, it does. It has scripture, it has Noahide scripture from God.
No, it doesn't. It's like, where is it? It hasn't got, actually a scripture because I've looked up the scripture of Hinduism. It's like, oh, the Vedas and the Rig Veda and all the Vedas. But actually, they're just hymns or songs or poems. They're not actually the directly revealed word of God, talking to us. And so, whatever they are, there might be, philosophical treatises um, and not the word of
Okay, but
God.
you still, Muslims have to get over the fact that they added to scripture and they're going to have to pay for
Well,
that.
no, no, because Muslims would say we didn't add anything. The Quran is the directly revealed word of God,
Yeah, but
and the
nobody's
fun.
going. People are non-Muslims are not going to believe that that's not an addendum to the Torah.
No, but okay. The only thing that falls to be decided is if there are two revelations from God, should we go for the first edition or the final edition? What do you say?
Well, they would say that there's not a final edition. You know, that's
Okay, Jews would say that okay, we know what they're going to say. It's like we're the only people God bothered talking to. Screw you, Gentiles. You don't know shit. And of course, God wouldn't even bother with people like you. Pah. And that is basically their attitude. God wouldn't bother with you, Lord. He gave us the Torah. You guys don't deserve your own revelation. Screw you. And that is basically their attitude. And if you want to know anything about the Abrahamic God, you have to come through us and be rabbinically guided. And
well,
that's
okay.
been their attitude.
Let me finish my point in that. Okay, look, when you interviewed a Jew and the Jew said um, that he was like, well, the Jews should just leave the rest of the world and go to Israel. And you asked him, well, what about your obligation to the Gentiles to teach them the Noahide laws? And he said, well, just flood Europe with Muslims and let them do it. Um,
Sam Samuels.
no, it wasn't Sam Samuels. It was someone else. I know it was someone else. It wasn't Sam Samuels. Yes, and let them do it. But the thing is that I'm seeing is that I think the Jews, I do think that that was their original plan. I do think that that's kind of what they were thinking. But now Hinduism would be such a much more sneaky way, and people are not going to be fretting, you know, about a Hindu takeover because it just seems so innocuous and they're so passive and they're so nice and open and tolerant and they don't have a history of running around all the earth and murdering people and they never really committed any genocides against anyone. And you seem to think that the chief rabbi of Israel declared Hinduism Noahide compliant for absolutely no reason and has no purpose of utilizing that.
You have to understand that Jews don't accept the authority of chief rabbis. If you listen to David Bar Hayim, he actually said these so-called chief rabbis, they're not even a Jewish creation. It's a Gentile creation of Gentile empires. So basically, the Gentile empire would say, look, you Jews, we've conquered you and we want taxes from you and just we'll appoint one of you to collect taxes from you and the rule has been that if you collect X amount of taxes, the rest you can keep. And so traditionally, Jews have always resented people called chief rabbis because they know that they work for the Gentile empire.
Well, I
And,
mean,
and,
it's
and,
still
and
look the chief rabbi of London has clout amongst Jews.
he's been declared a heretic by the
Okay, maybe
ultra
that one, but
Orthodox.
the chief rabbi of Ireland or the chief rabbi of Poland are not nobodies. Okay, they're not like
But they only represent a very tiny community.
no, they don't. They're not ostracized. It's not if you're the chief rabbi of Poland, nobody's going to be like, "Oh, you're a nobody. Nobody listens to you." You know what I mean? Like that's not true. Chief rabbis have.
Okay, in the sense that, okay, the Polish Jews would have to listen to him, but he would have no authority outside Poland. So the most
Okay,
powerful
well, we're
rabbi
talking about the
would
chief.
be the British
We're
chief
talking about.
rabbi.
We're talking about the chief rabbi of Israel, which is more authoritative for all Jews than it is for Polish Jews. But
They do a kind of swap. It's like this year the Sephardi rabbi becomes chief rabbi, and the next year the Ashkenazi rabbi becomes the chief rabbi. I mean, look it up. You know, they're just rotating, and they have no particular authority.
okay,
And
well,
actually,
they have legal
one
authority in
of them
Israel.
was
They have
nearly
legal
done for
authority.
hate speech. Well, one of them was nearly done for hate speech when he was talking about the Noahides. You must have read that article.
Yes, where he told when he said that you can't live inside Israel unless you are Noahide.
Yeah, and basically the liberals, threw rocks at him and he had to shut up. They have no authority. And not only do they not have authority among secular Jews, the Orthodox Jews don't listen to them anyway. They regard them as, you know, government appointees, and ultra orthodox rabbis, they have their own little, own group. I mean, every rabbi has their own following, and that's kind of how they want it to be. It's like, yeah, I've got my own community, and as long as I don't fight with the other group, I'm okay. So they have nothing that is organized.
Okay,
They
well,
might
it
as well
seems
be the
most
hippie movement.
Muslims have no organized anything either. It's not like they're so authoritative when one of them speaks. You know.
Exactly right. But actually, the most powerful Muslim country would be Iran, because at least it's technically a theocracy, and
The Shia state.
yeah, and then of course the Sunnis will say, oh, they're just Shias. We don't care for them. So they're very divided, and nobody has any kind of final authority, and that's why everything is going to shit.
Okay.
Everybody's passing the buck, and nobody's really in charge. They're just nominally in charge in a way, in the sense that Biden is nominally in charge. But who knows who is pulling his strings?
Okay, the point is that if the Jews are clever, which I think they are, I think they're seeing, okay, these Muslims are hostile to us, and if they say they're going to follow the Noahide laws, they actually mean that they actually are not being serious. They expect it to be Islam, whereas these Hindus are so groveling and will do whatever we say and will never turn against us and are begging for Noahide status. Why didn't we just use these people?
Well, I'm sure. Okay, if I were a rabbi promoting Noahidism, I'd just go great. Let's go for the people who are most friendly. And we already know that these Muslims hate us, and so do these Christians. Let's not bother. And India is full of people, and they, you know, and we could actually say, without telling too much of a lie, that they're no hide. And if you're a rabbi who specializes in reaching out to Gentiles, you would see India as, well, a good, promising market. So
Yes.
that, I imagine, is why they are looking to India. But
Yes, and I'm worried about that because that's more insidious. Hindu Noahidism would be much more insidious and hard to pick up on than Islam. You know what I mean? Like, that's more dangerous.
well, because they're more unprincipled, and you can't hold them to any principle that
They
you
would
know
hold to the Noahide laws. Yes, they would be
Yeah,
principled.
but it's not okay. I'm saying the Quran would be a better way of controlling them, and that's why I promote secular Quranism with Indian characteristics, and that's what I think you should do too, to protect yourself from these unprincipled Hindus. I mean, that's obviously the solution. Because, once you have an official handbook that actually states the rules clearly, you protect yourself. You can't have the, vague stuff with rabbis saying, we're going to make up these, rules for Gentiles and then not agree on it because you know they're going to fight each other and say, hey, you can't say that. It's heresy, blah, blah, blah. And they won't have the final authority, which is why it's so dumb to to even think of using the Noahide laws because eventually you'll have to revert to rabbis and ask them what they think, and then they will lose authority because of the of anti-Semitism, which obviously is an operating factor. So if you want to save time, it's got to be the Quran because at least you can say, well, the Quran has enough detail to well make your society a better society without actually relying on, rabbis. And these rabbis will not be able to agree with each other because Chabad is, they
Secular
laugh at
Quranists
Chabad.
won't agree with each other either. There's no authority in secular Quranism.
No, the final authority of secular Quranism would be the Supreme Court of your country. And this is how it's going to be all across the board. So any country that adopts secular Quranism, well, they will obviously already have their own Supreme Court. And they, and that would be the court of their final appeal unless they want to do some kind of international court of secular Quranism, which I think, for Europeans, they might need an Islamic European Union. But
Well,
honestly, I mean,
okay, I'm
the
saying
moment they start doing the Hindus in a big way, for rabbinically guided Noahidism in India, the Muslims will do something. I mean, at the moment they're a
and
bit
what the
dopey.
fuck are Muslims going to do? They can't even protect their own countries.
They will say that it is obvious for that secular sorry that the Quran protects the rights of Gentiles better than some laws cooked up by some rabbis. Of course, they're going to say that.
Okay, but Hindus are more likely to listen to rabbis than to Muslims.
But the thing is, those rabbis won't agree, and it's the easiest thing to say. Oh, this rabbi who said this thing about the Noahide laws doesn't agree with that rabbi who said this thing
Yeah, but
about.
Muslims have the same problem, Claire. You act
No,
like
no, no. What they have is, okay, they might disagree on the interpretation, but the verse they cannot disagree on because it's all been written down for 1400 years. All the numbers of the verses and all that, it's already there. I mean, there's not that much room for disagreement. And also it's more authoritative because it's supposed to come from God and Noahide laws just come from the Talmud and it requires rabbis to interpret it, and obviously it's just lower in status compared to the Quran.
okay, well, I don't think Hindus are going to listen to Muslims when they come and tell them, convert to Islam. I don't think.
They
I
won't be
think they.
saying convert to Islam. They'll be saying that secular Quranism with Indian characteristics would be better for you, and
But
and,
you
and
can't get the
here are the
Muslims on board
reasons.
with. Okay, Claire, your whole solution plan relies on Muslims promoting secular Quranism instead of Islam.
Well, not necessarily, because they would actually think that, okay, if they disagree with me, it's because they're saying, oh, she's not even Muslim, she's only a silly woman, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, their Sharia also relies on the Quran.
Yeah, but
And
they've
that's
not.
the whole point of me relying on the Quran. So I
Muslims
can
are not
say
that.
it.
No, Muslims are not smart enough to go in and say you don't have to change your religion. Just adopt these secular laws from the Quran. They're going to tell them, no, we want you to do Ramadan and iftar dinners and this shit
They
and
have
that
no
shit.
power because Muslims are a minority in India.
Well, they're not going to use secular Quranism. They're going to be dumb, and they're going to go to the Hindus and say, just convert to Islam. And the Hindus are going to say, wait, the Jews are telling us we can remain Hindus and just follow these laws we already follow. So why would I become a Muslim?
You don't need to become a Muslim. That's why I keep saying it.
They're not
Nobody.
going to spread secular Quranism. Claire, you think that you always think secular Quranism is just going to come in and save the day for everybody.
Well, obviously I do.
Well, Muslims are
Because
not
it
picking
actually
up.
works, it works better. It has enough detail to keep a lid on things. It's like not all rabbis will be agreeing. I mean, they're still making it up as they go along. That they're making it up. These Chabad rabbis, it's like obviously no, 7 laws are not enough. We need to fill it up a bit, and they won't agree with each
No,
other.
there was more. There's more than 7 laws in the Talmud
Yes,
anyway.
I know. You showed me this website and they increased it to, I don't know, 100 and something laws, but it has no divine authority.
Neither
And,
does
and,
the
and
Quran. Most people outside of Islam are not going to fall for the idea that the Quran has divine authority.
they may not, but the theoretical authority of the Quran is undisputed.
Okay, theoretical, but and Christians look. If Christians are told you can remain Christians and just follow these laws you already follow, they're not going to take on a whole new book.
Oh, sorry, I didn't understand that. I mean, what?
Everyone can basically stay what they are under the Noahide laws as long as they just make little adjustments. And then instead of just getting a whole new book that they don't even believe is a divine revelation.
No, no, the Quran would be the basis of your law, but everybody can, just
That's
go
secular
calculating.
Quranism. That's not Islam.
Yeah, well,
I know. Well, that's not what Muslims are promoting. They're promoting Islam, not secular Quranism.
okay. Yes, some of them will be promoting Islam, but in the West, they'll already know that the Westerner isn't just going to say, oh, I'm going to hire you, Imam from Pakistan or Saudi or wherever, to tell us how to make our laws. They will know that the Gentile will not be submitting to the orders of some imam from outside their Western country. I mean, I'm assuming that the Western ruling classes will not be doing that. They'll be saying, well, we can read the Quran, we're going to interpret the laws in our own way. We're not going to be hiring some imam from Iran or Iraq or Afghanistan or, all these places. They'll want their own westernized kind of Islamic scholar to interpret their laws for them. I mean,
Why? If they're, I don't look. I mean, look. All these people you talk to are, they'd rather be Muslim than secular Quranist. Like they're not.
who?
Well, like Thomas. Everyone keeps telling you to just because everyone keeps telling you to just spread Islam instead of secular Quranist. That's what Louise tells you. Louis, not Louise. Louis Wayne tells you. That's what George tells you. That's what Thomas Barton Reese
Yeah,
tells
but they're just doing what is called malign encouragement.
you.
They know I would lose authority if I became Muslim with you guys.
But you still don't have authority with them. I
Well,
mean,
I mean, it would be worse. It's like, supposing I did, and they'll say, oh, well, so what's a secular Quranism thing? You should be promoting Sharia, and we hate Sharia. So, it's just malign encouragement. I mean, it's like Jay pretending not to understand and saying, well, if you think it's so wonderful, why aren't you Muslim? And I think, well, I think it's the best available guide, but and the whole premise of secular Quranism is that you don't have to be Muslim to support it. So why would I undermine the entire basis of my idea by converting to Islam? I do actually want to make it work. So why would I become Muslim and just undermine the entire premise of my solution?
well, because not I'm not saying you should become Muslim, but I think look, like that Muslim in your group said, people want real Islam, not tranny Islam, and I think that most people are too dumb for secular Quranism, and I think most Muslims are too dumb for your solution. I don't think they're going
Okay, well, I just hope, okay, I hope against hope that there'll be somebody not dumb in the Western political establishment. And since America is a global empire, is it too much to hope that in this global empire of America, there's somebody smart enough to know what I'm saying and actually want it? I mean, surely there must be somebody higher up than you.
Yes, yes, but don't
I
you
mean, I
think?
kind of
Well,
like.
look, but Muslims are not. But how you think Muslims are going to get all riled up when the Noahide law starts spreading? They're all riled up about secular Quranism. They don't want anyone fucking being part of it.
Look, a lot of them just don't get what I'm trying to say, and they'll just dismiss what I'm saying because they'll think I'm not a Muslim, and it's like, unless I get media coverage, it will be as if I'm not even here, because nothing really happens in the minds of many people unless the media gives them a signpost and says, look, you've got to be concerned about this now because we say so, because we keep reporting this story. And obviously that's the only way of getting secular Quranism properly launched, by the media talking about it. And that's what I'm aiming for. And I'm saying,
Hey, well, I'm
you
saying
can help by becoming a secular Quranist, because obviously
okay.
it's just little old me and nothing. But if you do it and you're American and you're gay, a lot of people will want to ask you questions and invite you onto their channel. And what I'm going to do for Millennial is Quraniul is really to show up the people in Millennial who don't care that they don't have ideas, who don't care that they don't have solutions, and still insist that they're right and better than us. And I think we're more entertaining, even if people are just listening to us for entertainment purposes. We're still more entertaining than that lot. And once the penny drops that we are more entertaining than the millennials, then I think stuff will happen. So I don't think you need to worry. And what I think what we have that millennials don't have is that we are we are always talking and we're always developing our ideas, and we never really know how the conversation is going in each stream. And I think if people listen to us, that is what they listen for, not, a pre-arranged subject with a pre-arranged conclusion, with each party knowing that they mustn't discuss a certain subject or disagree with the other. And I think we offer that in spades to anybody disposed to listen to our streams. And I think increasingly concerned people will cotton on. Because, okay, I think Nourish is serious. He's not some, unmarriageable bachelor. He is invested. He's actually invested in the West because he's stuck here now with his daughter.
Um,
And okay, you may think Thomas Barden Rees is has a bigger channel or whatever, but ultimately somebody like Naresh who shows his face and tells us he had a job and everything will have more impact on other people of his generation. People with children, parents who care about their children, not larpers or grifters. And I think there are enough people who are already concerned about it.
well,
Well, even, I mean, surely you must know people who don't like the way the government is going.
sure, yeah, there are, but
Your family, I mean, are they Republicans or Democrats?
well, my father's really now nothing. I mean, he was when Trump was being elected, he was for Cruz, and then which Cruz is a total fucking loser. But then Trump got elected, and my father liked him. But then Trump didn't fight COVID really, and didn't like stand up and say this is all bullshit, and fuck this. Instead, he started making vaccines and all that other kind of stuff. So my father lost hope in him. And now my father is not really going to vote for anyone, I don't think. He listens to Dr. Shiva a little bit. But I don't think he's not going to vote for Trump, he said, because of the whole vaccine shit. And he's conservative and he believes in conservative American values, and but I don't think he's actually, you could describe him as a Republican. I don't think he feels affiliated with the Republican Party. I don't think he would call himself that. I think he just calls himself a conservative who happened to vote Republican, but he never voted his whole life until he got older. He was one of these conservatives. It's very, I don't know if it's the same thing in England, but conservatives vote less than liberals in America. Conservatives are more likely to just say, like, I'm not voting. You know what I mean? Like, it's very common for conservatives just not to vote. I don't know why they just don't take it as seriously or something like that. Um,
Or they're just not particularly enthused, and maybe conservatism is a bit boring, fuddy-duddy for, the previous generation, and people feel a bit, embarrassed to be, uh, to call themselves conservative. But I think, well, it's too early to say. I think people will change their minds once the media machine starts cranking up. And
just to back to the conservative thing in that, but also conservatives are less about big government. They're less about government, and they're more about individualism, and they're more suspicious of the government, and also the Democrats are very like everybody vote, and like reaching out to everyone and their mother to get all these unregistered voters registered so that they vote Democrat. And Republicans are more lackadaisical. Everything is fucking disorganized. Everything is, there's no like get out the vote drive. It's all just talking points like trannies, gays, blacks. It's like not real field work. And I told you that fucking Trump campaign were horrible to deal with. I tried dealing with them. They fucking contacted me. I didn't contact them. They contacted me, and then they dicked me around for like a whole month before I said fuck you. And then they called me the night before the election, trying to like siphon off me what I had done for them, and I didn't pick up the phone.
sorry, what did they do to you? I mean,
So they called me and they said, "Look, you're in with the Hindus, and you have Hindus for Trump, and you have some voice there. So why don't you try to get all the Hindus to come together and do a fundraiser and make money and have Donald Trump come speak at an event for you?" So I said, "Okay, I'll do that for you." But I said, "You know what? Can you please send me an official letter saying that I'm doing this for you so that Hindus don't think that I'm just some Joe Schmo running around saying, let's organize, let's raise $3 million so that Trump will come visit us. It's a lot of money, and I'm not that big of a person. And I need something official from the Trump administration saying that I have been asked to do this for you, and you need to have your contact there, and you need to tell them who you are, and there needs to be some name power behind this."
and
And
did he come and visit you?
who, Trump?
Yeah.
No, but the thing is that they never gave me the letter. I kept calling them. Oh yeah, we're gonna send it to you. Never did. Called me back, giving me other news. Sidetracking me, not giving me this, not giving me that, and then abandoning me, and then calling me the night before the election, trying to like ask what I had done for them.
Okay, so yes, it does sound very disorganized.
Yeah, it is very disorganized, and they don't treat people well. Trump didn't treat people well in his campaign. He dumped everybody who helped him, and he just Ann Coulter said that Ann Coulter had it right, that he stabs everyone in the back who helps him, and that is very like Republican, and fend for yourself. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. Democrats actually like help you vote. Democrats actually help you organize your campaigns. They actually want, if I were a Democrat and I was running Hindus for Hillary, I'm telling you right now, the Democratic Party would have been a lot more efficient in getting me involved in their campaign, and they wouldn't have let me go, and they would have given me what I needed, and it would have gotten done. And the Republicans and the conservatives, I'm sorry, are too fucking selfish. Okay,
But they're
like,
also called the stupid party, aren't they?
well, and they're also selfish, and also they have other things to worry about besides the election because they're into money and they have all the big corporate jobs, and they have to spend all their day making money and working, and then they're stressed out from work and they can't focus on the campaign that much. Leftists are a little bit more, and leftists care more about big government and this kind of stuff, and they actually use the government to their advantage, but more than that, they just fucking care more. Okay, they actually, like, this is what everyone, this is what I tell people about the Jehovah's Witnesses. People want to know how Jehovah's Witnesses are able to get people to leave their families forever and never speak to them again. It's because the Jehovah's Witnesses want you more. They try harder. They come to your door. They ask you to come over all the time. They give you lots of information and literature. And if somebody, they give you information on literature against other religions so you don't slip into that. And then they give you information and literature to brainwash you. And there's a lot of it. I mean, that's the way, and that's kind of the way the Democratic Party is. It's just constantly generating information and toolkits to keep people motivated. And the Republican Party is just like, you know, we hate what liberals are doing, and you know like, we hate what liberals are doing, but there's no real organized system to get people involved, and they're not as into young people. The fucking Democrats are smart. They go for young people who are idealistic, that are have the energy to dedicate themselves to the cause. And the Hindus have the same problem. If you ever go to a Hindu political meeting, it's all old people, and there's no young people there. They don't reach out to young people, and it's just a bunch of old creeps hanging on to power that are doing things in the old fucked up way, and the young people want nothing to do with it. And look what's happening in the Republican Party. The Democratic Party, young liberals, at least have some faith in the Democratic Party. If you look at young conservatives, they have no faith in the Republican Party. They don't want to go to some old fuddy-duddy Republican conservative convention. They want, I would, and, they want to go to fucking, something youthful, something new, something clean, fresh, organized, powerful, like.
Mm-hmm. Did you listen to Space Pan for a
No, I
bit?
didn't. I didn't
Okay.
listen.
No.
I didn't listen to Space Pound. I know you
You,
said he's gay, and
and that turned you right off. Ha 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 ha.
well,
Ho
it's
ho
not, it
ho.
didn't send me right off, but um,
So you didn't hear him complain about the Jews?
no. What did he say about the
Well,
Jews?
he just blames them for, I mean, what he says, raping children with knives, even
Oh God.
circumcision.
Oh, circumcision. Well, okay. You shouldn't put it like that. Raping.
Well, that's his shtick, that's what Jews do, and that's why he hates them. And women are like Jews; they don't care, they don't understand what the foreskin means. Are you circumcised, Vincent?
Um. Yes, I am. Unfortunately.
Oh, you mind? Oh, okay.
Yes, I do mind. I didn't ask to have it cut off. It reduces your sexual satisfaction, and it's also a sign of, like, it's a sign that I'm a Gentile slave. Like, if you want to live in Israel as a slave, you have to be circumcised, and I don't. It's Jewish influence as well. I mean, no, I don't. You make it that the only reason I'm against circumcision is because it's Jewish. No, the fucking, you know tying a baby boy down and then cutting off the edge of his penis while he screams and bleeds everywhere is fucked up.
Well, I suppose they think, well, the Jews have done all right, so let's have a bit of their Jewish magic. If you look at it that way,
It's
it's like, well, the
disgusting. It's disgusting.
okay.
That's a fucked up, Jewish
Anyway, he's
magic
very
that you're
bitter
cutting
about it. I
babies'
thought you might be
penises off for
interested.
magic. That's sorcery. You're fucking sacrificing an organ for a piece of magic. That's fucked up.
Well, it's sort of like identity, isn't it? It's like, well, every time you look down there, you know you're one of us. And actually, the Muslims do it too, and
Yeah, I
and
know.
in Malaysia, I know they don't do it at birth. They wait. It becomes a rite of passage, so they do it in their teens, so it's more painful.
Yeah, this is fucked up. This is just sick. It's sick.
Anyway, I thought you might like to hear him talk about that, and maybe I could have a few comments about what you think of what he said. Um, I mean, I just said, well, okay, it was bad, but what can you do? All you can do is move on, and Oh yes, yes, that was what I meant to say. Do you know that the male members of the British royal family, they've all been circumcised?
Yeah, that's fucked up too. I mean, that shows where their loyalty lies, and it's not with European culture, obviously.
I think it's for reasons of snobbery. It's like, oh, God's chosen people do it. We're gonna copycat them and get their magic. And
Yeah,
anyway,
well,
it's more aesthetic, as you may hear, some people say.
I don't think so. I mean, I think we've been brainwashed to think that nobody would think it was unesthetic if there was no such thing as uncircumcised penises. Nobody would look at a penis and be like, "Ew," you know what I mean? It would just be normal. It would be the way it naturally is supposed to look.
Okay, well, I think it's more aesthetic.
Well, you wouldn't know that if no one had ever been circumcised. You wouldn't like have that in your head.
Yes, but now that I've seen both, I still think the that circumcised penises are more aesthetic. And apparently there are health advantages.
No,
But
that's
but
been
it's like
proven.
it's
That's
not
been
like
disproven. That's been disproven. There's no health advantages. That's the American board already came out against that and said there's absolutely no reason to circumcise your children.
okay. So well, don't do it then.
Well, I won't, but I mean the thing is that people feel that they have the right to do this to their sons without their permission. I mean, like that, and this, what else are you going to cut off? What
Look, Vincent. It would be a bit difficult. Okay, supposing you had a son, and okay, you're against the idea of circumcising infants, and so you don't have him circumcised, and then he grows up and he notices that you're circumcised and he's not, and he
Yeah,
says,
I would
well,
tell him my parents never gave me a choice. They robbed me of my circum because of Jewish influence in the country. And, they put me through this barbaric, horrible procedure, that, we don't know how much that psychologically damages the child to go through that much pain on its first day of life. They do it in the hospital while you're still in the hospital. So it's like your first or second day there. And that's you have this deep irritating pain on your penis for weeks afterwards, and it's just not it's not good. It's not.
surely you have no memory of it. Do you
That
have?
doesn't matter. I don't know how that psychologically affects infants to inflict that much pain on them so early in life.
Well, I mean, you just have to ask Jewish men, like, well, what was your memory of your
They're
being
not. Oh
circum?
God, Claire, they're not going to remember, but we can't discuss.
Exactly. So and it's like, well, it hasn't ended in their extermination.
Oh, just because something doesn't end in your
No,
extermination.
no. Okay, that was a point I wanted to make. So your hypothetical son who hasn't been circumcised said, But Dad, I want to be circumcised just like you. And now, because you didn't have me circumcise me when I was an infant, and it would have been painless, now I have to undergo it as an adult. And
Well,
it's all
you
your
know, if
fault,
that's
Dad. It's all your fault. You're going to make me suffer.
why would he want to get circumcised if
Well, I
he's not
don't
even?
know, but some people want to be circumcised. There
Well,
are
then go get
people
a
who pay to
circumcision.
have it done.
Then go get it, and you can do it. You can get an operation while you're asleep. Just put you to sleep, circumcise you, and then you just have a little bit of discomfort. They don't even put those babies to sleep.
Well, perhaps there's not much point. I mean, yes, they feel a bit of discomfort, and then, they'll have forgotten it by the time they grow up.
It's pointless. It's a pointless barbaric custom.
Okay, but I mean, everybody's obsessed about Jews, so obviously it means something. It
No,
means
it
something.
doesn't. No, well, not Europe doesn't do it, and Latin America doesn't do it, and Asia doesn't do it, and India doesn't do it, and it doesn't need to be done.
Okay, so I guess you can campaign to stop hospitals from offering that option.
Yeah, well, it should be. It's too barbaric to, it's disgusting. It's a barbaric and disgusting practice. And, I'm sick of it just being accepted and tolerated like just something that, you do to your children.
But I suppose I don't know. I mean, unless it actually interferes with the function of the penis, there's no need to go on about it. But then,
No, well, excuse me, I did not want to be circumcised. I don't want the meaning. I don't need to be reminded that Jews have so much power in my culture that my parents were, brainwashed into cutting my fucking dick off.
did you confront them about it?
No, I didn't confront them about it ever, but I mean, I think about it.
But I suppose the reason they would give is like, okay, Spacepan confronted his mother, and you said, well, the Jews seem to have done all right, or words to that effect. So,
Yeah,
so they
getting
were saying, well, if
genocided
it's
every
good for
five
the Jews, it
seconds.
must be good for us.
Being genocided every 5 seconds is real. This is the other thing. Oh, the Jews survived. Survived in what? In genocide and in concentration camps? Wow, what a great life they have.
But I suppose, even if as they suffer, people still think they're higher in status than they are. I guess they always
Well,
think,
then
oh,
they're brainwashed cows, and that's disgusting. And people should be prevented from being so brainwashed, and obsessed with Jews that they're willing to put their children through barbaric rituals.
but it's all tied up with religion, so I suppose people will obsess about it a little bit. Because technically, I suppose Jews are the, well, they call themselves a kingdom of priests. They are the intercessor to God.
Well, fine. You want to believe that? Chop your son's dick off, and you're a fucking barbarian, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, okay, I'm, you know, if the option is there and it's free, I suppose it's tempting to say, yeah, go ahead. We know the Jews have been around for so long, and it hasn't done it any harm. So we're going to have the bit of that Jewish magic for my son. I mean, why does it have to be, put in a malign way? Why does the motivation of the parent has to be? I mean,
Because they're
just
doing
give
it for
give
no
give
good
mum and dad the
reason.
benefit of the doubt.
They're doing it for no good reason. Gentiles don't even need to be circumcised. It's pointless, and it's just pointless, and it's just nothing but pain and barbarism. I mean, have you ever seen one of those chairs they put the infants in order to circumcise them, and all the blood they fill with?
I think I did see one circumcision on a YouTube video by somebody who was obviously traumatized about it. But I suppose, it's like, oh, let it go. I mean, you know. But I think maybe some people want to keep their hatred going.
It's not hatred. I'm not. It just didn't need to be done to me. There's no reason for it to be done to me.
Except that it was an option that was offered. And
No, well, it shouldn't have been offered, and this is just fucking ridiculous, disgusting. Why not cut my earlobes off? Why don't we cut children's earlobes off?
well, because it'll look silly when they grow up.
Yeah, well, it looks silly when you have a circumcised penis, too.
Well, many women have expressed a preference for the appearance of a circumcised penis.
Yeah, because they're fucking cunts that don't fucking care. Yes, women, yes, I agree. Women love to take their sons and cut their penises off. It's their favorite thing to fucking do. Yes, of course a woman wouldn't care and would rather, yes, a woman would be that barbaric, to say, well, I want to get fucked by uncircumcised dicks, so therefore babies have to go through excruciating pain.
But aren't you focusing on something that you didn't really feel? And I suppose I wonder how healthy it is to hold on to a
It's still
grievance.
no, it's still barbaric. No. Would you want to go watch a circumcision, Claire?
I have seen it. Somebody forced me to watch it
Did you
virtually.
enjoy it?
Of course not.
Okay, so if you didn't enjoy looking at it, why would you want it to happen?
Well, I wouldn't want it to happen, but I'm saying that if somebody's offering it to your infant son, and you think, oh, but the Jews do it, and they're doing okay, you might be forgiven for thinking that you're actually choosing to give your son something extra, even though it's obviously ended up taking it away.
It should be absolutely banned. It's actually good to have foreskin. It protects it.
Well, don't they say that it has some protective qualities against STDs and stuff?
None of that's been proven. All this has been disproven. They say this. Oh no, this is Jewish propaganda.
Okay, so it's 50-50. Nobody can conclusively say whether it does or doesn't.
Okay, well, there's no evidence that it changes anything. No.
Yeah, I suppose somebody who's had it done will say yes.
Okay, well, government statistics prove that no, there's no benefit to getting a circumcision.
Well, then they should. Well, if it costs the taxpayer money, then they shouldn't offer it. I guess. I mean, I know you. Do parents have to pay for the circumcision option?
I'm not sure.
So you see, if okay, so if parents had to pay, they think, well, I'm giving my son something. That's how they think, right? Unless it's completely free. Anyway, I didn't ask Space Pan what the procedure was, but now I'm kind of curious.
He's from Britain?
Space Pan, he's an American,
Oh. Does he
and
talk
he's
about
got a
anything
YouTube
besides circum?
channel. And I mean, I suppose one thing unusual about him is that he's gay, but he's an anti-feminist.
Is he an effeminate guy or like a masculine acting guy?
He talks like you a little bit.
Why is he an anti-feminist?
Oh yeah, it's a convoluted. I did ask him the question, and I guess I'm a little tired, and I've forgotten the answer. Um, some injustice stirred his heart, and I think Paul Elam has a thing about male circumcision. That might have been one of the reasons why he got into anti-feminism. And I think he feels that feminism is unfair to men, gay men in particular. And I did ask him how, and I've forgotten the reason, I'm afraid. I guess I've been streaming for quite a while and I'm kind of all a bit blank. What are you eating?
Macaroni and cheese, but not real. I mean, it's macaroni and Parmesan cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Um, no, I agree that there should be no circumcision. I think it's a legitimate. You're not a man, and you wouldn't understand. You just wouldn't understand. That your body comes out the way it comes out, and nothing needs to be cut off of it.
I know, but I think maybe if you didn't have a problem with Jews, maybe you wouldn't mind saying,
No,
well,
I don't believe in it. I don't believe in it for Muslims either.
but when they do it, it's like, oh, it's because Jews are so cool, we're going to copycat them. But we'll just do it a bit different. We're going to show we can take more pain, so we don't do it to our infant sons after they're born. Soon after they're born, we're going to wait until they're adolescent males and then do it then. And then they'll never forget. And then
Well,
it
that's
becomes a sort of
worse.
special Muslim rite of passage.
Claire, that's even worse.
I know.
This is just fucked up. It's no, I mean you're saying that I would sit there and watch a child's penis be cut off and be okay with it, but the only reason I'm not okay with it is because it's Jewish. That's really, really fucked up reasoning. That I'm so fucked up that I'm okay with children's penises being cut off unless it's Judaism, and then all of a sudden I have a problem. No, I don't think children's penises should be cut off.
Yeah, but I mean, you put it in that way to say to make it sound like a castration,
It's
when it's
horrible.
when it's a peeling off of the skin.
It's not peeling off, it's taking a scissor and cutting it off.
I guess I'm trying to be objective about it, but yes, you can decide to mind about something, and be angry about it forever, or you can
How
say,
often
well,
do I wait? How often do I talk about circumcision? Hardly ever. I don't talk about circumcision all day, but it is an important thing to talk about, and I think it is important. It is important, and it's also a sign of it is a sign of Jewish power. It's a sign of Jewish cultural power that I'm a Gentile. There was absolutely no need for me to be circumcised, even under Jewish law, unless I was a slave living in Israel. And they don't do it in Europe, and they do it in America because Jews have so much power and control here.
or is it because Gentiles culturally appropriated the scripture and the divinity of the Jews? I mean, we don't really know, do we? But maybe Gentiles thought, oh, these Jews, they're so cool. Look at their religion and penises. We want some of that, but we'll give it our own Gentile twist and do it just a little bit differently, just to show that we're different to them. And that is basically what Christians have done.
A Gentile twist. This is sick, Claire. Why don't we cut off part of your pussy?
Well, there is a procedure called FGM, but obviously a lot of women don't want that, and it would interfere with their sensory ability.
Okay, well, circumcision does interfere with your sexual the feeling that you can get in your penis. It does decrease sexual satisfaction.
Well, it might make you more. Um, what's the word? Last longer, I suppose.
I don't think that's the purpose of doing that.
I'm sure circumcised men also suffer from premature ejaculation.
I don't really know if that's a problem, but I know that we feel, less, sexual gratification. And it was probably that's the reason, not to make us so that we don't come so fast so we please women. It was more like, we don't want you having sexual satisfaction.
Do you think your being circumcised has prevented you from enjoying as much sexual satisfaction?
Well, I would have more nerve endings in my penis, and yes, I would enjoy sex better if I had
It
not.
just means you just come more quickly.
Yeah, but I don't think the purpose was to please women by making men last longer. The point was making sex less pleasurable for men.
But if they orgasm anyway, then they do have
But it's less
pleasure.
pleasurable. You've taken away sensation on purpose.
It can't be conclusively proven because it's sort of like, well, it's not like you led this, other parallel life where you didn't have your penis circumcised, and then you can think, oh well, sex with women was so much better, with my penis uncircumcised than with my penis circumcised. I mean, it will be very hard to prove. I would have thought.
It is hard to prove because I can't know what it's like to have sex circumcised, but it does remove nerve endings. And it's just, I don't care if you don't remember it. You could burn a baby when it's a baby and it won't remember it, but that doesn't mean burning a baby is okay just because it doesn't remember it.
Well, I suppose if you burn a baby and then it still lives, it'll have terrible scars. But you know,
Okay, let's say that the tradition was that you had to use you had to brand them. You had to take a hot iron, dip it in fire, and then brand the baby. What if that was the fucking tradition, Claire?
well, that's different.
But what if that was the tradition? I mean, would you just say, "Oh well, oh well, it's not that bad to burn a baby because it doesn't remember it."
Well, I suppose it would depend on how long it's been done and the status of people who do it, and you know,
Okay, well, let's just say that it was a major world tradition to brand your fucking baby.
um. Well, I don't know. Again, it's sort of is it perceived to be high status or low status?
Well, let's just say it was status. I don't care what status it is. Nobody should be branding their baby, and nobody should be, cutting the baby's penis off or doing anything painful like that to the baby. Scissors should not be touching the baby's flesh.
I wonder if there are any Jewish men who sue their Jewish parents for.
I hope so. I hope so. They should. And they're disgusting what they're doing. It's fucking barbarism and we just accept it and I'm not going to tolerate it. I'm not going to sit there and be like, "Oh, it's okay." If I was in a hospital and I saw someone circumcising someone, I would interrupt. I would fucking get in the way. I wouldn't be able to watch that.
Well, Evelyn for you agrees with you. He's all being so foreskin and living the dream, yes. It's Claire Pro FGM, blah blah blah.
Well, I mean, it's not right, and the only reason you accept it is because it's Jewish, and you know very well that if it wasn't a Jewish tradition, you would view it as being very barbaric and inappropriate. To
Yes,
do.
because they're the world's most ancient and powerful tribe,
Just
and
because Jews do something doesn't make it right, Claire. Just because they did something like that doesn't mean that it's a good idea.
I mean, I guess all I can say is that aesthetically it's more pleasing, and then you say, oh, but
Uh,
you're just a woman, you don't know our pain when we had to do it, and it's like, yeah, but you don't know your pain either because you don't remember.
yeah, well, I wouldn't remember being branded as a baby either, but it's still not appropriate to do that. It's not appropriate to hurt babies just because they don't remember it. And you don't know what kind of psychological impact that has on the baby to go through that level of a pain. It's like first day out of the womb. It's not appropriate. You shouldn't be, cutting off body parts of infants. And you just are incapable of understanding that, and that's like so fucking barbaric. And thank God, the Europeans are just more civilized, and that's like, yes, that is an Asiatic practice, that is a Judeo-Arab practice to cut body parts off. And I do think white people would be more sensitive and say, at least they were in Europe. I don't know how many people are circumcised anymore in America. I think it's declining, but um, at least white people said, oh, thank you, but no, we're not doing that to our children.
Yeah, and I don't know if you have to pay extra to have it done. If you're paying for the thing, I assume that you have to pay extra.
It should not be an option, and it should be illegal to do that to your child.
Prevalence of circumcision. Um, it says most commonly performed as part of preventative healthcare, a religious obligation or cultural practice. Since 2010, both the World Health Organization and Joint United Nations Programme on HIV/AIDS have been promoting a higher rate of circumcision prevalence as a prevention against HIV transmission and some STIs in areas with high HIV transmission and low circumcision rates. According to Hay and Levin, 2012,
That's bullshit. They're going into Africa where nobody's criticized, where nobody's circumcised, and then saying, "Oh, look at all these uncircumcised people that have AIDS." Like that. Go into Europe, go into a civilized society where the men aren't circumcised, and then tell me. Don't go to fucking the third world that has a problem with AIDS, and then be like, "Oh, look, all these uncircumcised men have AIDS."
yes, you have a point there.
I mean, you have to do it in a first world country where it would be better to compare white Europeans and white Americans who are circumcised and who has higher rates of STDs.
Yes, now I need to find out whether you have to pay extra. Circumcision USA option, I guess, options. I guess you would have to pay. I'm just a bit curious about how much extra. Okay, I guess it would vary from hospital to hospital. Just going to check price. Or is it sort of free, circumcision cost? It costs 2,685 in New York.
Yeah, but insurance might cover that.
But this is for adults. It seems extraordinary that there are adults who would do it.
Yeah, I'm sure the medical care, and if you don't have medical care, I'm pretty sure you can still get it. I don't think they would, I mean, that would be even more fucking barbaric. That people want to circumcise their children, and now they can't even do it in the hospital. Now they have to wait and go look for somebody, and then the baby's like 2, 3, 4 months old before they can find someone to cut the dick off. Like that's even worse.
Circumcising male infant, USA. Yeah, it says it's quite common. It's about 60%. Why do Americans get their babies circumcised? The US medical establishments promoted male circumcision as a preventative measure for an array of pathologies, including reduced risk of penile cancer, urinary tract infections, sexually transmitted diseases, and even cervical cancer in sexual partners.
Yeah, but I mean, this has all been done away with. That was all propaganda. That was all fucking propaganda to get people to cut the babies' dicks off. And the more I think about it, the more angry I am. And Claire, you just like you don't see how disgusting it is to say that if Jews weren't promoting this, it would be barbaric. But because Jews are promoting it, all of a sudden it's okay.
Yes, because they're considered to be high status, and that's why you
That
hate
doesn't
them in the
matter. I
first
what if
place.
what if Jew? Okay, you know what? Like some people believe that pedophilia is allowed in the Bible, or it is allowed in the Bible. There is pedophilia in the Bible,
Is
and like
it?
yes, where they take all the little babies for the sex slaves, or the Israelites kill Moab or whatever it is, whatever nation it is, and they take all the infant girls as their sex slaves. And the Talmud says that they had sex with them. The Talmud says that they had sex with them. Does that mean pedophilia is okay, Claire?
Sorry, which verse is this?
You don't know about when Moses with the Midianites, where they went in and then they killed everyone and then they took the woman, and it says the girl children for themselves as sex slaves.
I'm a bit vague about the Midianites, and I confuse them with the Moabite women.
It was one or the other that they did this to. It's a very famous quote in the Bible, and Talmud says that they were tested, and that they had sex through coition. There's lots of things that Jews do. Jews also pick up chickens by the neck and twirl them around. Is that okay? Like because Jews do it, should we pick chickens up by the neck and just snap their necks?
Well, you're supposed to break their necks
I know,
before
but
you
it's in a
kill them.
barbaric way. You don't do it that way. I mean, cutting the head off right away is much more than like taking the neck and they twirl it around their head like in this insane fucked up motion. Like that's fucked up to do to animals, and I don't care if Jews are doing it. I don't care how high their status is.
Well, I suppose we can judge it by how long it takes the animal to die, and the whole point of breaking their neck it's that it's supposed to die instantly, right? Is it? I mean, is that why necks are broken?
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I imagine it is
Well, you
because
can
I've
live
seen.
with your neck broken. No, you can live with your people get broken snap necks all the time in our soul life. Just because your neck is snapped doesn't mean you're gonna die.
So why do? Okay, I mean, I just have this memory of this lion. I think it captures some animal, some buffalo or something, and it basically kind of chews at its neck and tries to break it.
Claire, I have to
Presumably to disable it or stop it from moving or something.
Claire, I have to go because my husband just came back. So we've been
Okay.
on for an hour, so I'll
Yes, we
talk to you
have.
later. Okay.
Alrighty. Bye
Yeah,
bye.
bye. Tama, I made myself pasta.